Welcome to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Youker and world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati. A new book is offering up a breakthrough plan that traps, tames, burns calories for easy and permanent weight loss. Can't wait to hear. So joining us to discuss is friend of the show, Dr. Neal Barnard, founder of the Barnard Medical Center in Washington, D.C., and best-selling author of The Power Foods Diet. First off, welcome to the show, Dr. Barnard.
Great to be with you today.
Certainly. So we love having you on our show. So why don't you tell us more about kind of these power foods and how they can really help stimulate weight loss?
Sure. We've known for a long time that we have to get away from the old-fashioned idea of, oh, I need to lose weight, I better just cut calories. Because if you're eating 800 calories a day, by Wednesday, you're ready to eat the sofa. I mean, people just don't want to be hungry all the time.
Correct.
Or low carb. So you're never able to eat bread or potato or pasta or rice or cookies. And that gets old too. But the newer shift is toward food patterns. When people eat more plant-based, they tend to be slimmer than people who eat more animal products and that kind of thing. But within these healthful food patterns, what researchers have discovered, including our team, is that there are certain foods that stand out. There are specific foods that will either reduce your appetite so that you're full sooner and the next 200 calories you just don't need, or some of them trap calories in your digestive tract and carry them away so you never absorb them. And there are foods that ramp up your metabolism after, so you're actually burning calories. We know which foods they are. You can put them into a really nice breakfast or lunch or dinner, and the foods kind of take care of themselves. So my hope is that people will never have to diet again.
I tried to make one of your recipes last night, a dessert, a blueberry pear crumble. Kimberly can attest to the fact I'm not some schlub in the kitchen. I'm actually a pretty good cook. I picked that recipe because I love blueberries, and I know that that's one of the power foods that you speak of. What are some of the other ones, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it was 2015 that the blueberries emerged. It was actually at Harvard. Researchers were studying more than 100,000 people. And they found that if you ate more of certain specific foods, and we can go through what they are, but if you ate more of these foods, the more you ate, the more weight you lost. And at the top of the list was this humble, unassuming blueberry, as well as raspberries and strawberries and blackberries. And then the question was, is it the anthocyanins? The anthocyanins, those are the antioxidants that make it purple. It's the purple color. And so researchers in the UK did a follow-up study where they brought in twins, more than 2,700 twins. And they found with DEXA scanning that the twin who ate the most anthocyanins had substantially less body fat, and in particular, less abdominal fat, compared with her genetically identical sister. So that confirmed the Harvard findings. There's something about these foods. And so blueberries, yes, but it was the other berries, and even if you pick up a pear, that kind of little reddish blush on it, that's a variant of anthocyanins too. So all these foods seem to have these effects. And in this case, what we think is happening is the anthocyanins are ramping up your metabolism a little bit. With regard to blueberries, I hope people won't just run to the store and just grab a pack of blueberries and bring them home. Because take just 10 seconds and look at them. And look at how long they've been on the shelf and make sure that they are plump and fresh. And organic is better than non-organic. Now, that doesn't matter for a lot of things. It doesn't matter so much for, say, an orange or a banana, because if it's sprayed with pesticides, you're going to throw that peel away. But I know for a fact you're not going to peel your blueberries. So the pesticides that's on them comes with you. And the other tip I have is don't wash them. Just leave them alone. Put them in the fridge. Don't leave them on your counter. Put them in the refrigerator. They will last longer. But don't wash them until just before you're going to use them. Because if you do what a lot of people do, wash them all and then put them in the fridge so they're ready, and they sit there for 3 days with a little moisture, a little bit of mold will start to form, and it starts to degrade it. So don't do that. The next time you go into the kitchen, try my French toast, because it's got cinnamon on it, and it goes with the blueberry cinnamon syrup. And it is the killer breakfast. Just unbelievable.
I bet you're killing me now because I haven't even had breakfast yet. The one thing I find really interesting is the fact you talk about blueberries, because my husband and I, we had a little varying opinion. I love blueberries, so I was eating them by almost the carton full. And he was like, don't eat so many blueberries. And I love them. So it's nice to know I was on the right track. Maybe I didn't need to go about that quantity, but I love things like cinnamon and ginger. And on your list, you mentioned something else that I did like. And ever since I heard about how they're modifying them, I try to avoid. But one of them is salmon. And then I have family members, and I as well, like goat cheese. And then you have things like coconut oil, which we had always heard is great. And you're saying, take caution, don't do those things. They're not going to help aid your weight loss.
We see this all the time. People come in, they think, I'm doing everything right. I'm eating wild caught salmon. But as soon as I started eating it, my weight loss just ground to a halt. What's the problem? The problem is, although it's advertised as a healthful food, and in certain respects, it is better than a steak, Atlantic salmon is 40% fat. And Chinook salmon is about 50, 51, 52% fat. And every fat gram has 9 calories in it. That's more than double pure sugar. And so it's just, it will fill you up, but it doesn't have any fiber to fill you up. It's got to fill you up with all those calories. By the time you're full, you've got a boatload of calories. Goat cheese, part of its reputation is just that it is actually a little bit fattier than cow's milk cheeses. And a lot of that fat is saturated fat. So that's the kind that raises your cholesterol and is now associated with Alzheimer's. And all dairy products, unfortunately, have a pretty strong link with prostate cancer in men. And new emerging evidence suggests breast cancer in women. And that is because there's estradiol in the cheeses. This is true for cow's milk and the goat milk varieties. They're only traces, but you've already got all the female sex hormones nature wanted you to have. So if you're adding more to it with the goat cheese, we're steering clear of that.
And if we want something really sweet to kind of get our sweet tooth under control, because as much as we're trying to eat better, at least I am, I try to get my husband to do the same. But do you have something that's kind of sweet but still healthy?
The carrot cake is out of this world, filled with the power food ingredients that will help you lose weight. That's the whole point. Try the triple berry sorbet, or if you've got kids at home, give them the blueberry pops. Out of this world. It's got a little popsicle stick in the berry. You put them in the freezer. They come out this purple popsicle that kids just adore. So if you want savories, they've got mango dal, pasta arrabbiata. All of these have the power food ingredients so that you lose weight automatically.
I was reading right before we went on, there's some research into using these power foods to reduce the risk of cancer and Alzheimer's. Can you touch on that quickly?
All of these come together because these happen to be extremely low saturated fat, high antioxidant foods.
Unbelievably delicious. So I can't wait to make some of these. Thank you so much for joining us on the show yet again. Dr. Neal Barnard, thank you for being on the program.
Thanks, Doc.
Sure. Well, thank you.
We'll be right back after the break. You're watching American Medicine Today. Don't be screwed by lesser spine institutes who bait you with minimally invasive procedures, then switch to screws, rods, disc replacements, and hardware. At Bonati, no metal hardware fusions are ever used. Bonati invented the precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine Procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
My name's Wendy, and I live in Costa Rica right now. I sold my business about 7 years ago. Now I travel and I do a lot of volunteer work. I'm in Thailand a lot, Cambodia, and then I do a lot of turtle sanctuaries in Costa Rica. And so it's a lot of heavy lifting and things like that. My pain came up over time. Pain was, at first was little by little. I used to be a runner. I used to do serious weight training, squats, lunges, training, and was very into my body and health. And then slowly I was able to do less and less and less. And to the point where before I came here, I could barely bend over and tie my shoes. Like I said, doing a lot of volunteer work, it's just more and more pain, and then like vibrating pains down the backs of my legs. I couldn't even stand up in an upright position because of the pulling on the back of my legs and through my buttocks and my lower back. It felt like it was like a really tight tight spring, and I could not stand upright.
As her pain continued to develop, she tried conservative treatments.
When I was still in the States here, obviously I went to the chiropractor, got x-rays. So I tried that route, epidurals and, whatever over-the-counter pain meds I could stick into my stomach without being sick, and doing less and less. I wasn't able to run anymore. I was not able to lift things anymore. And then I was just, now the doctor's like, now you can walk. And I'm like, I'm too energetic and young to just walk. And then the pain really started getting bad because I quit doing the epidurals because I was in Costa Rica, and I also wanted to be at that maximum pain level before I came here. And when I realized what my body's real pain level was at when I was doing nothing, I realized that I needed to do something. I was doing damage to my body. I was starting to feel tingling in my toes. I said, it's time. And before I lost permanent, nerve damage.
Desperate for help, she went to a neurologist where they diagnosed her with spinal stenosis and recommended a spinal fusion in her lower back. Having already suffered a valve fusion in her neck, Wendy put off having surgery.
And then when I finally saw a neurologist, I went and they did MRIs, and they said my first problem was like in my arm and in my neck. So I went ahead and got the surgery on my neck, and was not loving that recovery process. It was very hard recovery, and I actually still have some nerve damage in this left arm. And so when it came time to do my lower spine, I just kept putting it off and putting it off. My neurologist in North Carolina definitely suggested to do the lower lumbar spinal fusion, and I kept reading into it, and then I looked at the recovery process, and I also talked to many people, and I just talked about that recovery time, and the prognosis of most people that get that surgery is not good. When they said that they wanted to do the fusion again, I just had heard so many more, horror stories, and again, the recovery period and wearing the brace and not being able to do anything again. My neurologist said even after the fusion, I will still never be able to do the things that I want to do. I should still never lift weights or, do yoga. Not even yoga. Forget about running, I drive an ATV. I'm always, I just want to be out there and be doing things. I retired early. I want to go do stuff. And so I was not willing to take the risk. After the fusion on my neck, it was miserable.
A friend told Wendy about the Bonati Spine Institute, and she decided to make a call to see if they could help.
I was building my home in Costa Rica, and my architect, who happens to be from Texas, who's also living in Costa Rica, she said, have you heard about this Bonati guy? Because I told her I was considering the fusion again, and she would see me in such pain, and I was always complaining. And so I just got online, and I called, and I sent my MRIs, and they were very swift and very informative on the phone even. And the MRIs got shipped here, and they called me right away and said I was a good candidate.
Upon hearing she was a good candidate for the exclusive outpatient Bonati Spine Procedures, where no hardware is ever used, she made an appointment.
Even the first day I came here from my consultation was the same day I had my surgery. I flew in, they signed me in, they did my consultation, took me in, did another MRI, did my blood work, and I was in surgery in that afternoon. That's the beauty of it, because, any other place, it's months. You get a month to see a doctor, and then you have to go over here and get MRIs, and you have to go over here and get another measurement for a brace, or you have to go and get an x-ray from a different place, and then you have to see the doctor again, and then you have to stay in the hospital for at least 3 nights, and it takes a whole day to get out of the hospital, and then you're laying flat. They're telling you you're doing nothing for at least 6 to 8 weeks. I loved it because everything was right here. It was bam, 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 bam. I just walked over there, no waiting, MRI, nice big machine. The last MRI I had, I was probably it looks like it was an antique. Felt like it was an antique. Seemed like way more x-rays and way more positions and way more, technical than I've ever had before, as far as the x-rays for sure. Dr. Keith there came in, and he was the first surgeon to ever show me that I actually have a fine line fracture on both sides of that vertebrae that was done years ago. And then, of course, as we get older, we form arthritis in there, and you get all that scar tissue in there. And he says, and that's what we need to go in and clean out.
Like many, Wendy was nervous about being awake for her procedures, but soon realized that the surgical staff at the Bonati Spine Institute are committed to keeping patients calm and comfortable throughout the entire process.
After talking to the anesthesiologist, which was he was very thorough. I remember talking a little bit, talking to the surgeon and telling him, like, I feel it in my leg, I feel it in my back, but I mean, no pain. I had no pain at all. And very little recollection on my first surgery. And the second surgery, I kind of remember a lot more, but yeah, it was fine. There was no pain at all.
Yep. Any pain up here?
Nope.
Hamstring?
Nope.
Side?
Nope.
When she stood up in the recovery room for the first time, she knew right away her pain was gone.
As soon as I got up off the table and started walking, and I remember that too because I kind of went down and did a little model turn, pretending I was on the runway because it really felt good. Next day, still the same thing, still felt great. The next morning, I was excited to get back in here and get the other side done so I could just get it done and be happy and go on my merry way.
Having already experienced the recovery process after a fusion surgery at a different facility, Wendy was amazed at the difference of the Bonati Spine procedures.
It was miserable. The first time, I immediately told my husband, I'm like, go out and buy me a recliner because there's no way I'm going to be able to sleep for the next 8 weeks. I couldn't do anything. The recovery was just brutal. At Bonati, I took an Uber back to my hotel. I ordered Uber Eats, watched a movie, and enjoyed my evening. I was back here at 8:15 with a smile on my face.
At the Bonati Spine Institute, patients are not required to wear uncomfortable braces or go through weeks of physical therapy. Instead, they are told to walk about an hour each day.
They said to walk, try to get walk a little bit more. And tomorrow they said to start trying to walk at least an hour a day.
Wendy recommends anyone suffering with neck or back pain to contact the Bonati Spine Institute.
If you're debating on whether you should get this surgery, whether it's monetary, whether it's time, well, if it's time, this is the place. But you just can't put a price on your quality of life.
Now out of pain, Wendy is looking forward to traveling and enjoying her active lifestyle.
Like, I'm already getting online and getting ready to book my next trip, and I don't even really have to spend that extra money for that laying down bed. I can actually maybe get a business class and sit upright now this time.
To see more stories of recovery just like this, search for the Bonati Spine Institute on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, Amazon's Fire TV, Google Play Store, and Apple's App Store. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. And we're going to be talking about a new fusion technique with something called metamaterial. What is that about?
We do have already a tremendous amount of data where we understand that fusions, whatever the type of fusion that we put in the body,
Fails.
doesn't really work well. We see right now, for example, the metallic type of cages that they are trying to create. And we have a research in an engineering department in some university in Pittsburgh,
Right.
who is creating a metallic plates. The problem that I see with this is we're trying to continue with the same type of a treatment that we know that fails.
Correct.
We are creating different type of an opportunities for the industry to create an enormous wealth based on this. Next year, they are going to spend $12 billion
That's crazy.
in the industry to create and develop type of plates and tubes and everything that they require to do a fusion.
Mm-hmm.
As a physician, I feel that we are not allowing the physicians that they are on the field to practice medicine and surgery and capture that knowledge with the patients to be able to recreate solutions like in the past. Today, with the industry in the middle, creating millions of dollars for type of products that they are going to be put in a patient.
They install these devices and they go, well, we installed them great, with no regard to whether it's hitting a patient's nerves, it's not done properly. They're just looking at the technique and not the betterment of the patient. And that's the startling difference.
And at the same time, with universities, professors, that they are capitalizing on that with the system of corruption practically on the insurance to do a proper payment to physicians and patients. All this creates a situation where the patient is going to be responsible with his or her health of that type of an approach. What we need to do is we need to see if there's any way that we can have a challenge where they can show the results of of that surgery, and we can show the results of our surgery. But we need to have somebody who can promote this, because I do believe very serious creating more instrumentation
Is not the way to go.
And with the amount of surgeries that we do, the last year there were around 400,000 fusions.
What I don't understand is why something like the NIH will throw over $500,000, over $550,000 for this particular research. Like, oh, we're going to change fusion from really hard metals to something that may give a little flexation. But they pay no attention to what makes fusions really fail. And it's basically all of that instrumentation. It doesn't matter if it's metamaterial or what they're currently using, but they fail. We talk about this all the time. A 1-level fusion fails 65% of the time. A 2 to 3 level fusion fails 85% of the time. And the smidgen that seem like possibly they'd be successful typically fail within 2 years.
With a situation that is large amount of money placed in the industry.
Correct.
For something that is being practically blessed by the government, by the politicians, by the media, and by the doctors.
And by failed research.
And then the major trouble with that is very difficult to try to change the direction.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back to discuss more about fusions in just a moment.
I think everybody was shocked, like, really, you had surgery today? I had a drain tube. I was at my desk doing payroll for 200 employees, worked till night, got up, went to bed.
Actually, the recovery was great. I mean, I really immediately felt the difference. I was able to go back to work within a couple of days.
The progress after each procedure was amazingly good. The recovery, all told, has been phenomenal.
And when I got up off that table, it was like, like a reborn again. When I was able to walk off that table and walk out and go for lunch. I went in there at 10 o'clock, got operated on. At 12 o'clock, I was walking out on my own.
We went to the Bonati Institute, and that was the day, the turning point in my life. This type of surgery is so much more advanced, and the recovery time is so much less that it's just a no-brainer. If you've got pain, go to Bonati.
This is the honest to God truth. And was recovering, I didn't feel anything. The pain that I was suffering is gone. I can go back to work in like 3 days.
The surgeries that I had, actually, I recovered very easily from, I would say. I actually went to work the following afternoon.
That afternoon, when it was done, I actually felt so much better already.
6 days after surgery, I was back in the gym, slowly but surely working my way back to fighting, back to basically 100% of fighting. So 6 days, and everybody wasn't all like, didn't you just get out of surgery? I'm like, yeah, I feel great. And like, okay, let's see how you do. And I was bowling with everybody, and I'm in the advanced class. So That sounds a lot right there.
First time I came in here was Monday, and today is Thursday. I've had 2 surgeries and am doing fantastic. I'm still in shock that I can walk. That's all within 4 days.
Bonati succeeds where others fail. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. I'm alongside Dr. Bonati, and we're continuing our discussion about fusions. You are able to treat people that either A, have already undergone fusion, and you're able to undo all those nasty devices that get mangled and tangled in nerves and then loosen in bone and just cause an exorbitant amount of pain for the patient. You're able to do that with no hardware. And you're able to help people that were being told they needed fusions and fortunately came to you before those highly invasive procedures.
Like everything that I did in my life, 10, 15 years after, they start to imitate what we did. It's going to happen with this. Fusions are going to go away. Not only are they expensive, it's irrational put fusions and allowed that the spine will not move.
Right.
That will not happen.
Correct.
So the fact that they are going to be more hard, the fusions and less movement, they're going to be movements above and below.
Correct.
And they're going to now go and fuse above and below. And how far are we going to go with that?
Mm-hmm.
Needs to be addressed different. I don't know what will be the area where I can touch or how I can show the results of what we do
right.
to some sort of a group that will be interested and really understand the results.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, everybody is going to fusions, and the results of the fusions are pathetic,
right.
not only for the patients, for the economy. The insurance paid large amount, the hospitals have large amount of benefits with patients that they come to fusion.
It's all about money and not about patient-centric care, which is what you offer with the Bonati Spine Procedures. You also talk about the success rate, 98.75% patient-reported satisfaction, not just that you performed a surgery. And I think that's a big differentiator when you look at the fusion industry. And that's the startling difference. Thank you for watching American Medicine Today. If you would like to learn more, you can search the Bonati Spine Institute on all your favorite streaming apps. If you have any comments or questions, contact us at the numbers below. Or you can tweet at Dr. Bonati using the hashtag American Medicine Today or hashtag AMT. We would like to hear from you.